Thank you. I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the Board of Directors, Golden Rain Foundation, Wednesday, August 9th, 9:30 a.m. And because we haven't designated anybody to do the Pledge of Allegiance, we're just all going to do it together. So please stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, media. Hi, Emily, and we're on TV6. And as far as a quorum, we have a quorum. Director Gross will be here. He said he would probably not be here on time. He had a conflict. Okay. Approval of the agenda. Catherine? Seconded. Okay, it was moved by Catherine, seconded by Tom Circle. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor of approving? Oh, sorry.
We don't get to ask questions now?
Well, I was waiting.
Oh, I had my hand up. I thought you
push the
had to
button.
recognize me.
You have to push the button, request to speak.
I did.
Okay.
Approval of agenda?
I just wanted to know, are we going to have number 6, response to member comments? Or do we not get to do that today?
I don't have any problem.
So should we add that?
But
It's
why don't we
usually
call
on-
it 5A?
Okay. Thank you.
So 5A is response to member comments. Okay, with that modification, do we have an approval of the agenda? Vote. Commence voting. Cease voting.
Director Perock, I do not have a vote for you.
From who? Beth?
Yeah, Perock.
Okay, but it didn't take because you're going to see a blip and then it
There
gets
we go.
smaller.
Okay, maybe I pushed it too high.
Well, you see, and just to remind everybody, when you press the button, you'll see a blip, and then that rectangle, whichever rectangle you press, will get smaller. And that way you know the vote has registered. So if you don't have a smaller rectangle, then it hasn't registered the vote. All right? Okay, so agenda's approved. The chair's remarks. The one item that I have, and this was the only meeting coming up where we were all going to be together, because this came up after our monthly board meeting, and that is that I would like everybody to agree that we do these flyers. And essentially what this flyer consists of, and I'll pass one down that way and this down that way. On Friday, United will have all the people who are running for their board position will have to have their information in by 5 p.m. on Friday. So all we are planning to do is make a flyer that simply has a photograph, the name of the person, and all the various places that you can find out additional information for that person. And this flyer will be put everywhere that we have flyers in the community. And this is just a further attempt to allow people to run for a board without have to spending out-of-pocket money and to get their the name recognition and the information about them as a candidate. So it's not any kind of an endorsement. Whoever is the slate of candidate, or I don't want to use the word slate, whoever are the people running for that board, there'll be a flyer that just says, these are the third board people, these are the United board people, with links on where you can find out additional information. So if there's,
I'm going to hold it up again so
whoever has it.
I see that you're on television, so maybe if you put it there, people can see that.
It's just a flyer.
With the photos.
And it'll simply have a photo, a name, and which board they're running for, and where a person can find out additional information about these people. So if there's no objection, we'll continue with this effort. And our goal is that people do not have to spend independent funds to run for an office. I personally have never spent a penny, and I find it interesting to spend money to run for something that pays you nothing. Okay, that concludes Chair's comments. So the next item on our agenda is member comments for items not on the agenda. Oh. Yes, if you haven't done so already, please silence your phone. And if you have a beverage, please have a lid on it. So, well, are we getting a member comment?
At English 928A. The one thing I'm concerned about, those flyers that you're sending out, that's going to give a bias toward the people who've done a lot of things and been here a long time. There's going to be new people who won't have a link to somewhere else. I kind of think that that would be a bias in that respect.
The links are to watch the candidates' statements on Village TV, attend a Meet the Candidate forum, read the candidate statement in the Globe, read the statements on your ballot. That's it.
So it's all current stuff then that's going to
It's totally.
Okay, thank you.
This is to neutralize that situation. All right, I think we're ready to move on to item number 6, review the GRF 2018 Business Plan, version 2.
Thank you very much, Honorable President, members of the board, members of the community. I want to say this is the culmination of a rather lengthy process that involved, obviously, the GRF board, mutual members, the community, and many, many staff people. And I wanted to all of those of you who participated just say thank you. It is a big effort and an important one for our residents. And so I want to just dive right in here. If we could get the slide going. Betty will assist, and we're going to tag team a little bit today. I'll kind of do the first part of this, and then she will jump in on some of the more detailed operating budget issues, and then I will take over for the capital plan presentation. So that's kind of how we're going to handle this, and unless the chair has a different way they want to handle it. So overall, this is a decrease in the GRF budget. There are a couple of reasons for this. We have last year we had a big surplus, and the board elected to return that to the members by lowering assessments. It's not a bad thing to do. We won't have that surplus this year. I can pretty much guarantee you that. There's a lot of efforts and initiatives underway that we didn't have underway last year that will utilize the resources that you budgeted for the current year, or at least most of them. And so a recovery of that amount won't be available. And so that has to be made up, or it has to be cut, or fees have to be raised. Something has to be done to fill that hole, and we've done a little bit of that. The GRF capital plan, as you've approved it thus far, and I think we have a little bit more reduction today, is about $6 million under your 30-year reserve plan projection for next year. So $6 million under your 30-year reserve plan projection for next year. The budget assumes increases to non-assessment revenue, and in particular, the transfer fee, which I believe is on your next agenda, the increase in additional occupant fee, which I believe the first reading of that has already occurred, and it'll be back for approval in 30 days or so. RV lot storage, and these are more minor, RV lot storage fees, which isn't a big amount, but we're doing a lot of improvements there and providing additional security. And so the fees ought to reflect the level of service that we're providing there. And it is a wonderful benefit, but only for a slight few number of our members. I can differentiate that, say, from equestrian, which really, in terms of its big service, only benefits a few, but everyone in the community has access to it for special events, for riding lessons, for trail riding for grandkids. It is an amenity that all can enjoy. And so some degree of sharing, I think, is appropriate. With the RV lot, it is only available for those few that have a space. And so I think it's probably an amenity where less sharing is appropriate. And so I just put that out for you. There's an increase and that will be reviewed by the Security Committee in the coming months as we calculate those costs and make a presentation to that committee and then get direction, which will come before your full board. Similarly, golf fees and the room rental fees, a little more complex, and we anticipate bringing proposals to hopefully the next CAC meeting. In order to probably get this done before the end of the year, the CAC may need to have a special meeting in order to process that, and I apologize for that, but we have some proposals on golf fees, some of which you've already seen, and I think generally approved in concept. And then I think with respect to room rentals, that is a little more complex issue involving many more residents. And I think in the past, we've tried to develop complex algorithms and formulas to figure out how to do that, and it has not worked. That's not the right way. I think just something that's reasonable. What's fair, what's reasonable, what makes sense? So you don't have a few people getting hundreds and hundreds of rentals every year while the lone resident, struggles to have, a bar mitzvah or memoriam or other special event for a family member because there's no room for them. And so we just have to figure out what's fair, both in terms of usage and pricing, and sharing, and to bring that forward. So I'm looking forward to that discussion because it's been something that's been difficult to get our arms around for many, many years, and I think we should take that approach and get it done. So that would be my goal. I wanted to, and I shared this with you at your last meeting, but the residents didn't get to see this, and we really we're looking at the budget, and in particular, staffing and capital efforts. We want to prioritize those in a way that best benefits our residents. And I think, obviously, direct customer service, they call, they want something, we want to be able to respond and do it efficiently and in a way that makes them proud to live here. And so I prioritized both staffing and capital projects that do just that. Same thing with efficiency initiatives. We have a number of those going on, whether it's new technology to handle phone calls or a better way of operating machinery in the field or providing LED lights at all our clubhouses. All those things are prioritized in this proposed budget. Likewise, investments in technology have been higher on our list for a couple of years. We continue that effort, and we've done a lot. There's much more to do, and that takes many, many forms, whether it's adding a couple more buildings to EMS, which actually hits an efficiency initiative as well, or new gate technology to secure our community better. All those sorts of things have a high technology investment, and I applaud you for putting those at the top of your list. And then, of course, in a more global perspective, improving manners and improving community facilities is really what we do. And so those kinds of investments, whether it be improving streets leading to manners for GRF, or working with the mutuals themselves, whether, dry rot or other programs, those are prioritized within the mutuals budgets. And then, of course, looking at our aging infrastructure and clubhouses and making investments in those so their continued beneficial use by our residents can be assured. So all those sorts of things are fall in that category, and everything we're doing is really trying to target those 4 initiatives. And I don't know if you need to see this, but sometimes when you're putting budgets together and you've got somebody at the top who keeps moving the pieces around, it kind of gets a little complicated. So this is my way of apologizing to our department directors and Betty for moving things around too much. And so it causes some interesting glitches, but we did a number of restructuring initiatives in 2016 and forming resident services and general services. We had pretty much gotten rid of our tech department. We brought that back. And then we took landscape and recreation that had been merged. I have no idea why, and we separated those. And I think the residents and your board can see the benefits of that. I think both departments have been improved dramatically as a result of separating them and putting a specific focus for the leadership of those individual departments. And then this last year, current year actually, we did even more, combining security, compliance, and social services. And I think from everything I've seen and what I've heard from GRF and the mutuals, that's been a very positive move, and I obviously a lot of that has to do with the leadership there as well. Manor alterations has been transferred to maintenance and operations, but I think that at this point is really just in name only, because we've been pretty short-staffed there. I think we're better now. And the manager who's going to run that and a couple of other programs starts August 14th. Ernesto's had his plate full a little bit, so I think Lori's been filling in the interim until we complete that transfer. So that's something that'll happen the next, really, it's on paper now, but it'll happen in reality in a couple of weeks. And so I think that is a very, very good move, to have construction stuff under the construction department. It just seems to make a lot of sense to me, and I hope everyone agrees. Again, and I'm very happy with this next one, which we've already seen huge benefits of bringing broadband and IT together. We're seeing dramatic improvements in our internet service. Is just now kicking in. You're seeing, the cable TV operation is vastly improved. Not only, I think, Village Television, but also some of the infrastructure that's trying to support that is finally getting revamped. And I know we've worked closely with Media and Communications to add the internet improvements, put the new satellite dish in, add a robust cable offering that's really coming down the pipe that offers, nice whole house DVR along with over-the-top services for those who want to go out and procure special programming on their own. Just a lot of good things going on, very exciting. And I think over the next 6 months, you're really going to see that blossom, and I'm very happy with that move. And then we transferred the garden centers from landscape to recreation. Again, it's really a recreation program for our residents that requires a lot of interaction and administration And really, there are pieces of it that landscape will assist with. But in terms of actually interacting with residents and making those plots available and enforcing the rules and all that, I think recreation is in a much better place to do that. And then I really like this one a lot, though we just did it in the last month or two, and it hasn't really come together yet. But carport, parking, garden villa cleanup, a lot of that stuff was really shared by multiple departments. And so it was pretty hard to figure out when something didn't get done, who didn't do it. Likewise, if they did something really great, it was hard to figure out who did that too. And so here we've got all this under one department. And so now we know that Bruce is responsible for all this stuff. And if it doesn't get done, it's very easy for me to figure out who to call. And so I think that's good. And also, I think in a lot of these services, we would tend to take resources away from one effort, and usually it was landscape, and say, okay, well, let's grab about 16 landscapers for the next week and have them clean carports. Well, gee whiz, that's all good and fine, unless you're the person whose landscaping didn't get taken care of that week. And so we've kind of discontinued that practice, and we have a program that does not involve landscapers. It involves folks who drive street sweepers and operate equipment to make these services more efficient and not disrupt other services as they're going on. So anyway, all that leads us to a staffing summary here, and I think the essence of this, and I won't go into all this detail, but where we've added, for the most part, resources are in, did you move that? You did. Resident services, where we've added about 8.5 positions, and that is people answering the phones, serving our walk-in customers, and dispatching maintenance and landscape services out in the field. And so that's what that's about. Go to the next page. And then the other one is maintenance and construction, where we've added folks in a number of areas, mainly working in the mutuals, dealing with plumbing, carpentry, electrical, those sorts of trade crafts to improve our manners. They're sprinkled in here, and it's hard to see because you see a reduction in security service. You're like, oh my God, he's taking cops off the field. What's wrong with this guy? Well, that's not what's going on there. We have a major gate initiative going on. When you complete these improvements and add that technology to gates, you need less gate ambassadors to run the program. And so this takes into account the couple of gates we've already done, but also that probably by July or so, we'll have a couple more of these gates up and running, and so we'll have reductions there as well. So that's what that reflects, plus the addition of 2 more compliance officers. We have really overstretched in that regard. We've almost tripled the number of compliance cases we're processing with the same number of folks that we had 2 years ago. Now, I think there was a lot of efficiencies to be gained there, so I'm not suggesting we triple the staff. I think we've reached the limit right now with what we can do with this staff, and if there's a lot more things to be done. For example, there is no one who goes around and looks for illegal construction here in the village, and I can tell you from personal experience, because I walk around, and when I see construction, I walk inside and ask to see their permits, and guess what? They don't have them. And then we send them a stop notice, and we go through that little process. So there's a number of things that are going on there. Number one, I think they're handling hazardous materials inappropriately, and then also some of the construction is substandard, and some of it impacts mutual property. And so we've got to get a handle on that. That's going to take an extra body, probably one person just to do that, just to go around, and that will mean more building revenue for the city. And perhaps, if any of those folks are watching, they'll finally agree to put a permits person from the city here in our building, since this is where all the permits are coming from in the city. Why make our residents go to 2 or 3 places to get a very simple service? And in fact, if you handled it right, you could have the same resource do both of those things. They shouldn't even really have to see 2 people. There's no reason why that can't be consolidated. Our interests are not divergent from the city, they're the same. We want the same thing. We have a little bit different responsibilities, but our interests are the same. We should recognize that and work together, and I hope that our boards will support that effort and help me in moving that forward. So that's kind of what we're doing. And on the staffing history, you can see, and it's kind of been all over the place, but it looks like maybe 2014 was sort of a high. I don't know what happened oh, you can see in 98, they contracted out the painting, and so it was a low. Right now, we're sort of maybe in between there, maybe a little bit low. I think we contracted out maybe 8 to 10 FTEs for the lifeguard program. So that explains a little bit of the decrease that we've had, but also I think we're gleaning some efficiencies from some of our operations. There's much more to do. It would be great if you just could figure everything out all at once, but it seems like every week I'm finding something that is, that's odd. Why would we do that? And shared one with the chair this morning. It happens. So as we come across those and we see inefficiencies, we take them out and rework the program. And so while I think we're a little low for the volume we're doing, I think we take it year by year and see what efficiencies we gain in a year versus maybe what services are added or enhanced during that same year, and try to balance out the staffing history. This is kind of interesting. We're not ready to talk about assessment levels yet, but assuming our recommendations are nearly followed, this is sort of where you end up. And if you look at the 20-year history, you can see we're probably in the middle of that, from a high in 2014 of 223, almost 224. We're down, proposed this year, at 198. So we are putting, and have been for a number of years, downward pressure on assessments. And at the bottom there, if you look at the 15-year average, we've averaged at GRF an increase of 0.6%, less than 1%, while over that same 15-year period, the CPI has averaged 2.5%. So I think, and there are other things at play here, but in general, it would be an easy assumption to make that the board has been conservative and respectful of the members' cost or sensitive to those issues. And so this sort of gets you the math on the basic monthly assessment. Is this a good place for me to give it to you?
Sure.
Well, let's hand this off. Better go through the details of not only the assessment but the operating budgets, and I may jump in on occasion, as certainly you may, and then I will handle the capital plan piece.
Thank you and good morning. The slide that you're seeing here on the screen is just showing the proposed assessment per man or per month. When we go through these budget processes, everyone wants to know what's my bottom line, what's my assessment going to be. Well, GRF is just one component of the assessment. United will be reviewing their business plan tomorrow and third on Friday. And so a member in each of those housing mutuals will pay not only the GRF portion, but the mutual portion. And so this is just a piece of it, but you can see here that GRF is planning on an operating budget of $178.57 per man or per month, adding to that $20 contribution each month to reserves. So that brings us down to the figure Brad mentioned, $198.57. We do have some slides here that I'll go through fairly quickly so that our TV audience who hasn't been to these meetings can get an idea of the work that the board's been doing to look at these line items and understand the change from year to year. But the GRF operating budget in dollars is $27,289,000. Those reserve contributions, the $20, is equivalent to just over $3 million. So your bottom line business plan for GRF is just over $30 million. That is a 3% increase over the prior year. And so we'll just take this one line item at a time. Starting with revenues, golf and recreation revenue, which is primarily for your golf greens fees, some of your rental fees at the golf course, and also your clubhouse rental and event fees that Brad was mentioning. So all those revenues are combined here, and we're planning for more next year in this non-assessment revenue to help bring down the assessment. And these are discussions that are going to take place for higher golf fees and room rentals. And we'll be taking that to the CAC committee and then back to the board. The broadband services revenue is combined here. It's mostly equipment rentals, high-speed internet, some video production and premium channel revenues, and ad insertions. So that's a total of $4,387,000. And that helps to lower your overall cost for all your cable and broadband network systems. And so you have a good revenue stream there to help keep those costs down and your cable operation affordable. Miscellaneous revenue is all the remaining categories. It varies. The major components include additional occupant fees, RV storage fees, traffic violations, and so forth. And we are projecting, again, some higher revenues here for RV lot fees and the additional occupant fees. These are in discussions and will be finalized. So on all of these categories where we've assumed a fee increase for next year, those are just dollar figures at this point. So we've increased the revenue stream that we're expecting, but it's not yet tied to a specific fee amounts, and so that will be finalized before we proceed into the budget year by January 1st. Moving into the expense categories, employee compensation is your largest in a service organization. That's a budget of $17,432,000, and we have included planned wage adjustments in this line item. Your union contract calls for a 2.5% wage adjustment for next year, and that same assumption was used for your non-union employees. We also have the effects here of the additional staffing that was mentioned and some changes in allocated wages from the departments. The expenses related to compensation are those required taxes and insurance amounts and employee benefits, including medical, health insurance. And this is a total budget of $5,852,000. This is going up somewhat due to the wage adjustments that we talked about. The higher wages result in more taxes, more insurance costs, and also contracted pricing for the union medical insurance premiums. Materials and supplies in total across all divisions is $1,767,000. We do not have a significant change in this budget, and it does reflect some recent history. Cost of merchandise sold is a small item, $168,000, and this is the expense side of those items that are then sold at various operations, such as the liquor for community events, the merchandise in the pro shop, and at the warehouse. We do have revenues up in that miscellaneous revenue category to offset these expenses. Community events is showing a business plan of $385,000 for next year, and that is decreased to reflect recent experience, but also it's offset somewhat by an inclusion of some money for outdoor concerts. Your utilities are shown here. Electricity, sewer, water, trash, natural gas, and although not a utility, we do tack on telephone here in this category. And the major changes here are reductions in your electricity, and this is to reflect all the energy initiatives that GRF has pursued that's resulting in lower consumption, such as your LED lighting in the facility parking lots and your solar-powered pool heaters. The trash line item also reduced to reflect recent experience. Fuel and oil for vehicles. This is the service fleet requirement, and we're seeing a downward trend in those fuel prices, and we're all enjoying that. We hope for it to continue next year and have budgeted accordingly.
Yeah, we're also parking 6 diesel buses next year, which is going to reduce your consumption quite a bit as well. And I know Bruce is working on some proposals for electric vehicles to take their place, and we look forward to sharing that with you as well. Though I didn't work that into this number because it's really unknown at this point.
The next category is for legal fees. This is a budget of $250,000, and you can see by looking at some prior year actuals there, this really is a contingency that fluctuates from year to year. So we make our best estimate, and if any special issues come up, then the board can go to their contingency reserve for supplemental appropriation as needed. Professional fees is a collection of lots of different items, primarily consulting throughout the operating departments, and the biggest are the contract programming in IT, engineers that are used in the projects and maintenance departments, and also architects for your projects.
I might just comment about this a little bit. Engineers and architects are billed against the reserve projects for which they're hired, whereas some of the IT efforts we need really relate to AX and getting, there's a lot of functionality there that it's not fully realized, and so we're adding pieces to that as we move forward. And so I can imagine that'll be a little higher for a few years as we continue to bring these different modules online. So that's a reasonable expense and to be expected when you bring on a big system like that.
We've also increased the payroll and HR
Let's wait until we're done, please.
system fees.
Well, I know you were, but let's wait till we're done. Thank you.
We're also increasing the budget for payroll and HR system fees. We're upgrading to a new Ceridian platform, which is web-based, and it's called Dayforce, and that's going to push out many efficiencies excuse me, for the payroll and processing information for employees, and but it does come with some software maintenance fees that we've planned for here.
Now that's a really important effort. You know, we do a lot of paper checks, we have paper time cards, and a lot of different things like that. We hand out the pay stubs if people have direct deposit. I saw a manager walking around handing those out the other day. I about had a heart attack. That's a lot of money to pay a guy to hand out pay stubs, though I get the theory behind it, but nonetheless. So this will eliminate all of that stuff and add online job applications and a lot of other different things, a lot of functionality in terms of time and labor data that we can use for a number of things. So it's a vast improvement that I see having a very, very high ROI for us.
And the last category here is audit and tax. We have increased that budget somewhat because we're going out to bid. On many items, when you go out to bid, you expect lower prices, but with audit, it has the reverse effect because you have a long, multi-year engagement with KPMG, which has economic benefits. And if you go to another auditor, we might see an increase there. So we've planned a contingency for that. The rental line items is primarily showing an increase here of $11,000 due to gym equipment lease for the GRF fitness centers. This is also the category where we have things like the copier lease, golf cart rentals, and so forth. Outside services is a budget of $1,269,000, and this is a collection of many, many different line items within the departments. And the increase that you see here of $400,000 is primarily due to the outsourcing of aquatics. So you have a big savings on your compensation side, and we've included the contract value of that service here. You do have an overall savings in aquatics by outsourcing it, and so you're benefiting bottom line. Repairs and maintenance is a budget of $799,000. The major components here are that software maintenance that we discussed, but also janitorial maintenance and equipment of your facilities and equipment, and the cable network, vehicle shop, and clubhouses. All the departments have some need for repairs and maintenance. And then anything that didn't fit in those categories that we've already discussed and is in this other operating, it's a budget of $590,000, and this includes uniforms, safety and training, recruitment fees, some public relations costs, and filing fees and permits. And this increase of $72,000 is primarily due to contractual changes in the uniform contract to meet the requirements of staff and the additional training that was needed to maintain safety requirements.
Yeah, one of the big changes. I mean, obviously, we had a pretty serious event here fairly recently, and so obviously we're responding to that by more safety training in a variety of areas, not just that one, but also new rules. For example, on slope maintenance now, you have to have fall protection, and that's a pretty big change, not only in terms of training, but just actually doing the work. It takes a lot longer and is much more difficult to do slope maintenance work now because of all the fall protection. So
This small line item, the gain on sales at the warehouse is the obsolete equipment that is essentially outlived its useful life, goes up to the warehouse and is available for sale, first to residents using a silent bid auction, and then anything left over goes to a public auction with a professional auctioneer. So this helps offset your costs. Interest, so you can see this budget's going down to zero after a long mortgage on this building. We're going to be making the final payment in November of this year, and so this building will be unencumbered and no more interest payments on that loan. The principal portion of those loan payments comes out of your reserve, so you don't see that on this line item. Income taxes, you see a budget of $150,000 estimated here. This is a significant reduction over prior year. We have approached the taxes differently, focusing on offsetting expenses for your non-exempt income, which is those activities that generate revenues that are considered taxable. And we focused on lining up the costs with those activities. And so essentially, at the end of it, you're paying taxes primarily on the interest earnings on your invested fund balances.
I'm pretty pleased to be bringing this to you. I worked pretty hard with this, along with Betty and our tax consultants, to realign our expenses and revenue between cost centers and to really flatten this out. And I hopefully this will hold up.
We'll know soon. Tax submittals happen in September. KPMG's working on them right now. And like I said, we just re-looked at the allocations of revenues and expenses and got into more detail so that it makes sense for the submittal. Property and sales tax, these are the DMV fees for your GRF fleet. And insurance, this budget is a combination of many of your different policies, a total of $1.3 million here. And this is showing a decrease because we are seeing some lower premiums coming in after negotiations. Last year, you went out to bid for your broker services, and you consolidated your programs with one broker at a significant savings in those fees, and also they were able to renew at lower costs than we anticipated. So you're seeing the benefit of that this year on your financials. We also expect this next year to see a pretty favorable renewal of your insurance programs. We'll be discussing those in detail at your upcoming GRF Finance meeting on August 23rd. So if insurance is your thing and you want to know what we have and what it covers, we're going to have the broker here to explain the programs and where they're headed into the renewals. Cable TV programming fees are shown on a separate line item here, $4.8 million. There's no significant change here. We do have a contingency for contract increases. As you know, there's many different contracts for your different channels. Some are through a consortium and some are negotiated individually, and we hope to keep those fairly level, but we do have some room there for the increases for those big program contracts that come due.
Another area that just drives you nuts, because you get 200 channels for almost nothing, and then 10 for millions, and so it's quite frustrating when you negotiate these. And so we've got a kind of a plan to long range lower this a bit, and to put some of the responsibility for accessing some of the more costly programming on the resident. But we have to give them devices that will do that. And so that's part of the whole home DVR thing. So lower this a lot. And if you want to see, the Baltimore Orioles baseball games, well, you're going to probably have to use a device to go get that. We really can't pay for that. So just some of the things we're looking at.
This last expense, or second to last expense line item, uncollectible accounts. This is a provision that we have for bad debt. And this contingency here is in anticipation of any unpaid amounts that are due to GRF. Cost allocation to mutuals is our last expense line item, and this is an offset to all those expenses up above that we've been discussing. We go through a process of interdepartmental allocations where support departments allocate their costs out to the operations, and what we have here is a net result of those interdepartmental allocations. We are allocating more to the mutuals in 2018, so that is an offset here to GRF. Surplus deficit recovery. For 2018, we do not anticipate any reduction in your operating costs for recovery of surplus. You are running at a planned deficit this year for GRF, as expected, to recover your prior surplus. We expect that to be used up by the end of the year, and so we won't have this one-time reduction like you saw in 2017. Quickly on your reserves, you have two primary types of reserve accounts. You have your reserve funds, which are required by civil code, and we're assessing $2.9 million as a contribution to go into those reserves. You also have a large revenue stream funding those reserves from the transfer fee, which I'll show in just a minute. And your contingency fund is just a small amount that you set aside to supplement your operating budget for those items that come up during the year. Not everything can be anticipated in a budget, and if you don't have surplus funds, then you go to your contingency fund for unexpected items. This is the cash flow expected for the contingency fund. You have about $700,000 this year, and your rate of expenditures this year is quite low from your contingency. We did project about $500,000 a year in the future, but that remains to be seen. So this is just a plan for cash flow purposes. And so we left the contribution there at $1 per man per month. And depending on the activity this year and next, then we expect that to go up a little bit each year by $1 just to help keep this contingency funded. And then here's a projection of your reserves plan. That 30-year funding plan is showing current year an assessment of $23. The board has reduced that down to $19 to bring in contributions of $2.9 million through the assessment. You do have some interest earnings, but then there's that facilities fee that I discussed, and the GRF board has proposed increasing that from the current fee of $2,500 to $5,000 to improve the revenue stream that's funding your reserves. And you can see that $4 million projected there starting in 2018 and every year forward. So on the far right, you see your projected reserve balance. The board has focused on those planned expenditures and set an assessment amount that's sufficient to keep your balance at a certain level and never falling below a threshold. The threshold is currently $6.8 million. This is an arbitrary number that's set by the board, and it's really just a comfort level since you don't focus on a percent funding method. And so this is visually a look at where your ending balances are going to be, that black line, compared to your threshold, which is the minimum amount that you don't want to fall below. We do have a plan proposed here that will improve your funding in reserves, and the eventual impact of that is an improved percentage funding. Your business plan for the current year estimated that you're 21% funded, and although the board has chosen a threshold method which focuses more on planned expenditures than the percent funding, you do have some people who are coming from outside communities buying here that are familiar with that, and lenders like to look at the percent funding number, and so we keep that in mind when projecting future years. So in total, this slide shows the estimated expenditures just for 18 out of those reserve funds, equipment and facilities. And Brad's going to take over from here and talk about those in more detail.
Did you want to talk about the operating fund, or do you want to just finish this up and then talk about it all? What would be your preference?
Let's keep going.
Okay. So I'm just gonna run through the projects very quickly. You're very familiar with these, but many of our residents may not be, so I just wanted to share with with them and hear your comments as well about many of these projects. Obviously, probably the big ticket item in this whole budget are the gates. We've already found how much they help security and then also compliance. We can figure out what folks are doing, who's in here that shouldn't be, by a number of methods. They've proven to be very, very effective, and so we're suggesting that you continue this effort. And this particular project is for gates 1, 2, 3, 4 in United. And then similarly, who'd have thought, there's 4 gates in Third we'd like to do too. 7, 8, 9, and 14. And they're all a little bit different, all customized installations, if you will, because we're not proposing for these gates doing what we did on 5 and 6, which is the total replacement of the gatehouse. They're being remodeled right now, the gatehouses, in terms of bringing the electrical and the bathrooms and the plumbing up to code, LED lights, that sort of thing, getting rid of dry rot. And then these installations will go in around those updated gatehouses. It'll be much more cost-effective than replacing them. And I think the old gatehouses have a lot of character myself, and so if we can make them function properly and look good, I think it's fine. And then 10, 11, and 12 are potentially more complicated. 10 and 11, because there's been some discussion about perhaps consolidating those, and so we want to evaluate that further, both in terms of there's some city issues that have to be worked out, but also there's some design issues as well that could be complicated, and so we want to have thoroughly vet those before we share the actual recommendation with the community. And then 12, we kind of know what that's going to look like, but it's a more complicated design as well. That is a complete demolition and relocation. We have to move that gatehouse to the east, and so push it back inside the gate further to provide adequate stacking. And it's complicated right now, and it's not very functional. And so this will, and I'm suggesting, I don't know if it's 4 or 12 that is the worst gatehouse we have. 4 is pretty bad, but this one's bad too. You can, as I've said before.
4 is just one of those portable.
Yeah, it's just a portable. It's not really a full-blown gatehouse. This one, you can literally sit on the bathroom there and also operate all the equipment at the same time. It's efficient. It's very efficient. But we think maybe it pushes that envelope a little too far, and so so we're going to replace that. There's a number of things going on at the community center. Here, let's go to the next one. This is very descriptive. And here you can see this isn't really, I don't like the name of that, community center remodel. It's not really remodel. We're bringing security into this building as well as security dispatch, which will be combined with resident services, call center, and dispatch. So you really got 2 areas that are being worked on. One is the resident services area where residents go in and get service, and that is going to handle our future telephone volume for pretty much everything. And then the 3rd floor where the fitness center used to be, which is where security will be relocated in the future. So that's what that's all about. And then, you know, we've gotten, I think, about all the life we're going to get out of this roof, and now that we own it free and clear, we probably ought to put a new roof on it. And then, as anybody who's been in this building too much knows, the heating and ventilation systems here are very antiquated and poor. They're pneumatic valves, and really we need to have a digital system so we can connect ultimately to our EMS and all that sort of thing. So it's a very old system, requires to literally have a full-time guy going by and adjusting the air in this building, and it's just not the proper way. So we're going to fix that too. And then we have some vehicles here, and you can see it's kind of it's a number of things, but everything from these landscape mules to, and I think this is supposed to be a new electric van here, but it's hard to tell from that picture, and then lifts and other things as well. Here's a whole breakdown of that. And then we have, again, as we typically do, a lot of paving work. We're evaluating how we've typically done the paving program, and we think there's a lot of efficiencies we can glean from this. Again, this is really a strong suit for Ernesto as a road guy in a big city. They have miles and miles, hundreds of miles of roads, and so we think there's some opportunities here. But I'm going to evaluate that and come back to M&C with some suggestions on maybe how we can do a little less asphalt work for next year and a little more concrete. And so I think that's where we need to go, and probably with the mutuals too. And so we're evaluating that, and we think there's some efficiencies there that we can glean out of that program that will allow you to do some of the things that have maybe not been done. And then Clubhouse 1, there's a number of things here, but probably the most important is that assessment. There's a lot of, the building looks great from the outside. I love this building, but you get in some of these activity rooms, and quite frankly, it's gruesome. Whether it be the actual design or the paint or the carpet, the blinds, it just is really bad. And so I did a pretty good walkthrough over the last couple weeks. I've been over there 3 times and up in the rafters and in the equipment room. And I think we just need to get this assessment done so you can see where we're at with all of these systems, whether it be structural or mechanical, electrical, and then what abatement costs might look like for all the asbestos that's in there. I mean, obviously, these buildings were built at a time where that was a fairly popular construction material. If you did anything too much over there, say you wanted to redo it, well, it's big enough, you're probably going to end up with the sprinkler requirement. And so all those things have to be evaluated, and then you have to look at it and say, hey, this is what makes sense. So I want to get you that information, because one way or another, at least on some of these activity rooms, we gotta do something, because it really is not, I think, what we want our residents to have here. So that's important. And then again, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this until after we've done the assessment and are assured that yes, that makes sense for us. And so I'll probably be asking for an early release on the assessment, because I want to do it right away and get it to you so that we can do some of these other things that are desperately needed. We just had an incident where the fitness room and gym system was off for a couple of days. Of course, it always happens in July. That never happens in April, It's a July thing. And so, needless to say, we had a lot of people at the community center working out because it was pretty hot over there, and we finally found a solution, but basically, it was a guy standing there, and every time the switch kicked off, to push it back down. So we did that for a couple of days, and then we found another solution that worked better. But it's really an antiquated system that has a lot of old systems and parts to it that really aren't integrated very well. So we'll be back to report on that as well. And then again, if it makes sense to move forward with that building, then also I think we ought to do a project similar to what we did here at the community center for that fitness room. A lot of the equipment's old. The flooring has some holes in it. The air circulation in there is very odd and problematic. Part of that is there's multiple heights in that one room, and so you get to one area, it looks like it's 8 feet, another area it's 50 feet, and it's just the design of this of all that does not work very well. There is no design. No, there isn't. It's just shoved in there. So we want to fix that. And then we've got a bunch of pretty bad pool furniture here at Pool 1, and I had them this week pull out a couple of the worst pieces because I thought somebody might fall through them. You know, because those straps get oxidized heavily and then they break, you know, and so we got rid of some of those. We need to, I think it's better, and we've talked about this, to buy better equipment that's going to last longer and then just replace the cushions or the whatever the seating material is, you know, every 4 or 5 years, rather than buying these and replacing the whole thing every couple of years. So I think the board concurred with that, and it seems to make a lot of sense to me. And then, well, I don't even know if I need to comment on this. I mean, it is kind of an eclectic, maybe 70s look, but I prefer chairs that match, and it's just me. And so we're suggesting that maybe we go ahead and do that. And then we've got some shade canopies here at the bocce ball courts, and it's quite an interesting facility and a wonderful group here, and they like to have a good time and throw the ball, and we're going to get them some new canopies, so that'll be nice. And then this is kind of the typical, and the one area here in terms of set-top boxes, but the infrastructure repairs. I mean, you heard from Chuck, and he shared with you how outdated and aged a lot of our cable and internet infrastructure is. And we're not really talking about now we're talking about things at the manor or in boxes or in vaults, not in the head-end building where you have various things that are just kind of worn out and connections as well. These are pedestals and nodes here. Let's go to the next one. There you go. And these are vaults. And do you have any connections in there? No. But the actual connections where your manor is connected to our system, many of those are decades old, and they get rusted and have a bad connection. And it wouldn't be such a big deal other than there's like 12,500 of these, which kind of makes it a big deal. If there's only 2 of you out there, we'd come out today and fix it, but there's a lot. And so what we've started to do is when we make a service call out to a manor, we just go ahead and do all of them in the area, given if we have enough time. Just, it's all the ones to that building, maybe some other ones that are close by, just to stave off. Because the problems, when somebody calls about internet or cable problem, most of the time it's in the manor. It's an older modem, and there's something going on there. When it's not in the manor, it's almost always in one of these, either a box or a vault, or a node. It's ours. And so we want to do an analysis of that and then bring back a program for you to consider maybe for future years. I think we have enough on our plate this year, and with everything Chuck's doing and upgrading the head-in building and doing some of these bigger repairs, there's not very many vaults and nodes, so we can take care of that pretty easily. But there's a lot of boxes, and we need to have a program for that. And so if we can come up with a program that we think that you can support, and we'll bring it to meeting communications and share it, and then if it makes sense, the board could elect to move forward with some of that next year. But we're not suggesting that right now. And let's go ahead. Do you have the breakdown on that? Yeah, Clubhouse 4. Quite a lot going on here. And actually, we've done a lot at Clubhouse 4 this year, both in terms of we had some programmed funding for dry rot and a little bit of painting and of trim and some other things. We've done that, and it looks pretty good. They did a really good job. I was very pleased with that. And then we also added the pool solar over there. A lot of residents like the water a little hotter than we would typically provide, and so I'm more comfortable doing it if it doesn't cost very much. And so we were able to crank up the temperature a little bit at residents' requests, and so I hope they appreciate that. And so get a number of things we've done. There's some kilns that we're replacing this year, and some other things that have been needed to be done. But for next year, There's some for next year, so go back, please. But we have a pretty good water penetration into that old bridge room, and there's some peculiar design features there that none of us have ever seen before, and so we're quite amazed, and we're going to remove them and kind of get that sealed off. I don't know what the future use of that space is, but I think if you can get it dry and remediate some of the mold and other issues that are there, it's a pretty big space, and it could have some very interesting. I like the space. It's very interesting, and so we'll have to consider that down the road as well. And then the maintenance is just general maintenance, and then the pool deck needs a little work too. And you can see the kilns here. We have the board replaced a few kilns this year. We got a few more for next year, and I think actually we had the emeritus program kicked in for a couple kilns as well. So it's been kind of a partnership there. And there's a few, again, we have just some modest equipment replacement there. And here, this is, if the board decides to reinstall some garden plots south of the current Garden Center 1, we'll need some netting, and so we've included that here. There's a little bit of study. I assume that we'll have to do some sort of trajectory analysis off the tee there and see, what that would look like, and we'll bring that back for your consideration. And here we have just some irrigation for the golf course. Again, some mowers, aerators, other equipment for the golf course. And then my favorite, though I think underfunded for this year, are the miscellaneous projects. And what these typically are, and I showed some of you. One was there's a big electric vault that was rusted through and fallen down, and so that's a miscellaneous project. The 2 bathrooms at Clubhouse 4 that the golf folks use, we're remodeling those. They're very bad. They're right next to actually they're the old bridge room bathrooms that are right. You have to go outside to get into them, but they're used by the golfers now if they're in that area and need to seek relief, if you will. And so we're remodeling those. We're remodeling the bathrooms at the RV lot with miscellaneous project funds. So those are the kinds of things. I think we've added carpet to card rooms and those sort. That's usually what this is for. Things that staff sees out there that just have to be addressed right away, and so we just take care of it out of this fund. And again, it's nice to have that flexibility to move quickly on things that are irritating the heck out of our residents or that present a safety problem for our community. And then we have some other IT and stuff, and the Dynamics AX licensing. So that's a piece. And then we have we're doing much more on the ID card system, and you can see we're adding a lot of card readers throughout the community, and obviously a big part of that is making sure that folks who use our facilities are actually entitled to use them. And so it'll be in the future much more important as residents are participating in community activities that they bring their ID card with them. We'll still look them up, if they forget it, but it's much easier if they bring the card and just access the facilities on their own. But glad to help, but take your card with you. And then this is going to be a big efficiency initiative here too, is adding MDCs or mobile computers to our security patrol vehicles. So I want these folks, that is their office. I do not want them going back to another office to do the paperwork. And so by having this device in the car, they're always in the car, in the field, serving our residents, instead of going back and forth to the office all the time to enter something or to find a piece of information or to, you've got to end that. So we make them a nice office in the car and then expect them to stay there for their whole shift or most of it. And so that's the way it's done in the real world. That's the way we should do it here. And then we have this is miscellaneous equipment, some painting equipment, and some outdoor concert equipment. You know, we're doing a lot more big special events like 4th of July. We just did the Grandparents Fun Day, and we've got a bunch of stuff that we're doing, and having a suitable outdoor concert and speaker system is pretty important when you're running those sorts of things. So we want to update that as well. And then we had some funding in here for this, but you guys decided, I think it was 200,000. You guys decided to do this in the current year, and so this 200 can be removed. So that lowers the expenditures there. And then we have some miscellaneous maintenance here at Clubhouse 5. I think there's some other things there too. The multi-purpose room, we recently surveyed residents on sort of, you know, dance and exercise and other activities they would like to have in this room, and we've got 1,400 responses from residents, and it was very helpful, and so this funding will help us make that a reality. And then chairs. We're going to replace these chairs. They're quite uncomfortable. They're I think 25 years old, which in my mind is a pretty good run on a commercial chair. If you get 25 years out of a chair, you're doing pretty good. And so I think the primary benefit of these chairs is not comfort. It's that you can stack them. It looks to me about 30 high, which is, it's commendable for a chair to be stacked 30 high, but that does not aid in the comfort level, which I think our residents would find even more important. And so we're looking for the perfect chair and the perfect place to store the chairs, because we're not going to be stacking them this high, so we're going to need more storage. So we're looking around. A lot of big events happen at Clubhouse 5. I know I've gone to a number of them, and some of them are quite lengthy. And these chairs are not really suitable for that. So look forward to bringing that. And then Clubhouse 7, we've got a couple things going on here, and I do apologize to those who use that a lot, because some of it we haven't brought very quickly, and maybe it's just because there's too much going on that's related. But we definitely, in the current year, have funding for a number of things, including flooring and blinds and those sorts of things. And then we're suggesting here that before we do that, let's go ahead and get this kitchen thing squared away, because it's really dysfunctional and inadequate. And so my thinking is we would get an early release on this and go ahead and get that kitchen squared away, and then just roll right behind it with the flooring, because it's going to be disruptive for the bridge players, and I only want to disrupt them once. And also I don't want to put in flooring and then have it not work well with the new kitchen we do. So that's what's going on, and it all could have been done probably a little bit better, but that's what we have, and I'm hoping to get an early release from you to allow us to go ahead and just take care of this. And we also, we have some chairs there, and again, those chairs have served us well for a long time, but a lot of them are cracked, and they need to be replaced. They get those. I can assure you, those are the busiest chairs in the village. Those chairs are busy. I don't even know when we're going to do all this work there. I would say Christmas, but I think they play on Christmas, so I don't know. There may not be a day. And then the boiler and domestic heater there has had little issues as well, and so we want to go ahead and fix that. And then we've got tying in the EMS at these facilities. I have to say Clubhouse 1 would be contingent on that we decide to actually go ahead and move forward with the HVAC replacement that I'm suggesting. And then we've got some additional landscape equipment as well. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. And then we've got, I think, an older analog projector there that is not very functional. And so we've coordinated this with the design folks, and they concur that this is the right thing to put in here. And we're doing a lot of movies there and other activities, and that seem to be incredibly popular. People love to come and get their their popcorn on the weekends and watch a movie, and we're pleased to provide that activity. Ah, yes, Clubhouse 6. This has some very interesting furniture here. I actually would probably like to get an early release on this if you would let me, because it is pretty gruesome over there. And we do have this new room that's available that used to be used, or used to not be used for billiards. And so I know I had a guy over showing me some carpet and blind material today for the billiards room, and it'd be nice to jump in there when he's done and provide some nice card tables and then also replace the other furniture there, because it's not serviceable. It's just bad. And this is some heaters up at the maintenance yard, which are desperately needed. And the last one here, this is not really optional. The head-in building has to have really good air conditioning because it has all of our computer equipment, our cable equipment. I mean, it's just, you don't mess with that. And so we're recommending a replacement there. So that concludes our proposal. I think it is an aggressive workload. It's in a lot of different ways. We're changing systems and processes. We're enhancing facilities and services to residents. And so doing all that simultaneously can be a little tricky, but I think we're up to the task. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts as well as those of the mutual board members and our residents. Thank you.
Can I get a request to speak screen? I got nothing. After the slides went, we're all dead. Yeah, it goes to sleep. It goes to sleep. Now we're good.
Is it good? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So my first speaker is Tom Circle.
Thank you, Brad. I have a question about a very important issue that I don't see in this budget, and I'm hoping you're going to tell me that we're going to take care of it this year. But to go back to security cameras, the phone system, computers of the pro shop are in dire need. The starters cannot even see the golf course. With the cameras that we have, I've been asking about this for months. I notice it's not on any of this. I'd like you to tell me that it's going to be done with money we have.
That's going to be done in the current year. There's already been resources allocated for that. And I know it's on Chuck's plate. We've talked about it, and I will elevate it a little bit.
Thank you.
Okay, Catherine?
Yes, just a question back. You talked about the programming for AX, for the AX software when we were going through operations before we got into capital. And I assume all of that, all of those expenditures are going to be capitalized themselves, right? They're not going to be taken into operations. Any programming that we're basically doing to improve AX so that it functions the way we need to?
Right. If it were configuration and programming, what happened is we changed our support provider from Hitachi to AX Mentor. And so the operating portion of that cost for the maintenance and support is higher. And you see that increase reflected in operating budget. But if we were to upgrade or add a module or deploy a new module that's in the system, then we would capitalize that.
Okay, because Brad said you were going to contract, you were getting contract software people. I just want to make sure we're capitalizing all of that.
Yeah, some of it depends on what they're doing. We've had to operationally enhance a few features to coordinate, say, with resident services. One of the things we wanted to do is anytime somebody calls for a service, we wanted the CSRs, the community service or customer service reps, to be able to pull up financials from Stellar. And so we added that feature. It wasn't a huge deal, but it had to be done. And somebody who knows how to program in this that needs to know how to do it. And so we were able to put that together. So that might, something like that might be operationalized, but most of the bigger module deployments will be capitalized.
If any directors are choosing to speak, I have nothing on my screen. All right, Ray? Okay, you came up.
Thank you. I have three real quick situations. My concern on the TV ads on TV, especially I've noted on channel 155, when the people paying for the ads that come on in that channel, you can't even hear them, so you have to turn the volume up, and it makes it real loud when the other thing comes on. It's something to look to. We may lose a lot of money because of that. If I were buying those commercials, I would stop immediately. Number two, in gate 11, you have a second gate that is not attended to at all. It is locked. My concern is that I would hope that it has remote control. Otherwise, if we have an emergency situation, I can guarantee you, if I'm the first car, I'm going to break the gate down. I'm going to go through it. That is very, very important. That's on Victoria Street by the school. And the third system, and the third thing, and I'll make it fast, I am very concerned when you said that you had electrical problem where you had to turn it on and off and on and off. That's a very, very heavy fire situation. It overloads the system, it becomes radiated heat, and you get fires. Please look into that. There's something, I mean, I only did it for 31 years, so I really know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that really wasn't electrical. It was an old, like 15-year-old EMS component that doesn't integrate with anything we
Okay,
have
but
now.
if it have to be the electrical, you have to
Yeah, no,
keep
we wouldn't
kicking
do
it off
that.
and off. All right, thank
No,
you.
we wouldn't do that.
Thank you.
Catherine, are you back on? You're, okay,
Okay.
now you're off. Got it. Okay,
Okay.
Judith.
No, I called her to speak, so she was wanting to speak.
Okay,
I did want to speak.
all right, so Catherine.
Okay. Actually, I think you've done really a good job with the budget. I'm really very comfortable with everything you're trying to progress. The one thing that I would like us to consider when it comes to the amount of reserve funding that we put in there, and I had talked about it before, and I passed out to everybody, all the board members, and to Betty and you, Brad, was I'd like to consider that, and I make a motion that we consider changing the per manor, the assessment contribution, the per manor per month contribution from $19 to $16. Based on my analysis, and I calculated for everybody, and I did the spreadsheets on showing what the difference in the impact might be to us. And it's a difference of roughly about $400,000. It's actually $400,000 difference, which is our way then from GRF of, because we've raised the transfer fee or expect to, that this is one means of which some of that transfer fee can be brought back to the housing mutuals.
Is this a motion?
This is a motion. The motion is to change the per manor per month contribution from the GRF budget from $19 per manor per month to $16 per manor per month. And you'll see it if you look at
For
my,
the purposes of discussion, I'll second that.
okay. And you'll see if you look at the spreadsheet I gave you.
I guess now the discussion will continue.
Okay. If you look at the spreadsheet that I gave you, okay, on the front where it says GRF 2017 capital budget, I did basically a cash flow analysis of what, the expenditures that we've gone through, the contributions, what we've expended in each year, and then the calculated year-end balance. And I show that basically, and actually I understated a little bit from what Betty had reported here, that at the end of 2018, the year-end balance, she shows 13,880,000, and I'm showing 13,392,000. On the opposite page, or if you flip it over where it says alternate, the alternate is then showing what the impact would be if we changed in that budget from $19 per manor per month to $16 per manor per month. And really, you'll see that the calculated or the end balance basically is roughly $13 million, so it's a difference of about $400,000, which, to me, when I look at the curves and I look at the reserve funding and that shape, I think it's well within the capability of GRF to be able to handle that. And let's recognize that a lot of our projects are those, as opposed to housing mutuals, where they basically have to be focusing on the sewer systems, the dry rot in the houses, and a lot of other issues that the infrastructure for the housing mutuals. We have infrastructure issues, but it's easier for us to spread something out than it is to be operating and having to resolve things where the housing mutuals may have more of an emergency situation than we would have. And that's the whole basis of trying to say, you know, if there's any flexibility in how we do our budgeting, GRF has a little bit, I perceive, after being on the housing mutuals for 6 years, that GRF has a little bit more flexibility in controlling its funds flow than the housing mutuals may. So I look for support in my
Okay, the speakers that I have on my list were on my list prior to the making of this motion. So if you want to speak to the motion, how about you just raise your hand? Diane.
I speak against this motion, but you said that it's a $400,000 difference, but that's just for 1 year. And I think that $1 is $152,000 a year, so I'm not sure why it's not 450, but I think that's what you're saying, is that we'll put 400,000 less in?
Yeah, this year, yes.
Right, but that would mean that we're putting 400,000 less in next year and the year after and the year after and the year after. Because this isn't just for one single year, because this is reserves. So if you're, unless you're saying that you want it to be dropped down to $16 this year, but next year back up to 19.
Next year, you take a look at it and say, what's our situation?
Well, I
You
think
look
that,
at each year at a time, because when you look at the curve that was projected, my God, that thing's going off into, it just keeps climbing, and that's kind of unrealistic levels.
right, so I think that at the time when it starts to go really high, then you can do that. But we're looking at years where we have a lot of expenses coming, and I don't see this projected out past 2018. And the other thing is, when you say that we can spread things out, for example, the lawn bowling recently, we decided not to make that in two separate portions, because, 2 separate times, because it saved money to do it. When we go to sign contracts, if we need to have the funding in place in order to sign the contract. So and also that we sort of at this late date are now having this discussion, I guess that's about all I have to say.
Joanne?
Catherine, I would love to support you, but what Diane just said, what I have been thinking, which is sort of like, Brad, we're here to discuss the budget, but let's change it all. And you don't take $4 a man or a month out of the GRF budget without having, I think, serious repercussions. And so do we want to start the budget process again?
What kind of repercussions do you
Okay, it's
foresee?
my understanding
Okay.
that you have to be acknowledged to speak.
So I would love to do it, and I think that if we plan for next year, that what our goal is, and tell the people who are running the operation what our goal is, then that would be wonderful. And Brad, I know you're crying. But it would be really wonderful if we could do as you're suggesting, but I think at this point it's, well, it's not premature, it's just like really late. It's the opposite.
Okay, any other directors want to speak on this motion? Okay, I'm going to speak. I am not in favor of this motion. I do not want to see our reserve contribution go below what's currently proposed, which is 19 for reserves, $1 for contingency. And part of the assumption here is that we never spend the money, that we always have a bunch of money sitting there that we don't spend. Well, we've only had 1 year of Brad. And he's already, about half of the list that we went through this morning, he's asking for early release of funds. So he not only wants to wait until 2018, he wants to spend it in 17. So I think that the premise that we have this money sitting there, and one of the reasons that there was $1.8 million to return to the mutuals in the previous budget was because GRF went in and looked at previously funded projects that we knew we weren't going to do, and that created that surplus. And that, the 1.8, and if you remember, there was a Garden Center 3, that alone was 1.3. Well, we don't have that kind of money floating around because, and we have a board member who's not very happy because we're not throwing a bunch of money at the Performing Arts Center this year. But next year, when we actually have design plans from the consultant, yes, we'll need money, and we'll need a lot of money to make that happen. So, so I really think the premise of this motion is not accurate, and I can't support less than the amount we're currently funding, proposed funding. Any other directors want to speak to this? Then Catherine?
Yeah, I understand the reluctance. It's too bad Joanne left, because actually whatever action we take is not a big action relative to the other mutuals, the housing mutuals. I mean, all they find is that they have an extra $3 available to them. And my expectation and hope would be that they just flow it into their reserves, because that's where it needs to go. And that's really what my expectation is.
That didn't happen.
Well, that was a couple years ago. You're absolutely right. It didn't when we did it before. The housing mutuals gave the money back, and then they had to, that created a problem. And my expectation is that the housing mutuals now are a little bit more, boards are responsible, and they will flow the money back to, into their own reserves. Because this is the only way that we can flow money that we receive from a transfer fee to the housing mutuals. Because every time a house is sold, or a manor is sold, as we know, we're going to be asking people to be paying us $5,000 with that transfer. And so the objective here is to say, let's share some of that back with the housing mutuals, and the only way we can do that is to reduce the assessment amount in the capital forecast. And Betty, I have a question, because John said something and it just triggered me. And he said that they went through and that capital surplus, or the surplus we had last year when they did the budgeting, that this was a return, this was not a return from the capital expenditures.
No.
Okay. There was an operating surplus. Right. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that because, I mean, John kind of implied that it was out of the capital and you can't move between the funds.
There was a over $3 million surplus. So I think it was like 3.2 million of operating surplus, and a portion of that went to reduce the assessments. This 1.8 million we're talking about, and there was also a transfer to reserve. So a portion of that operating surplus was transferred to reserve.
Okay,
But it's all generated from operating.
Okay, I just wanted to understand that. Okay.
Diane?
A couple of things. One is that I don't hear the, my fiduciary responsibility is to GRF, and I think I'm acting on what I think is fair or the best for GRF. That the mutuals, I'm not hearing them saying to us, hurry, hurry, like, please make this change to the last minute because we really need to put more money in our reserves. And the other is that we haven't mentioned, if you look at the 2017 budget, it calls for our contribution to be $26 per manor per month into our reserves. And we are saying it's 19. So in fact, we've already cut it $7 less than what would have been projected last year, or what they suggested for last year. And the idea that next year we're going to look at it and make a change, I think it's more prudent to wait till we have enough funds in the accounts, and then we can look to make a change and come down. But we can't, I just don't think that people want to see us, well, we're going to have 16 this year, and then maybe we have to have 22 next year, and then it's like, let's just try to get on an even keel. It just seems to be more reasonable to me.
Any other director comments? All right.
Dick Rader, 270D. It was mentioned that perhaps the amount of money that GRF returned to the mutuals did not all go to reserves. I could speak, I think, for United. Just want to correct that. If I recall correctly, I think you returned $22. And unfortunately, not all did go into reserves, but most of it did. It was $6 that they reduced the HOA fee, if I recall correctly, but 16 went into reserves. So I think that a comment was made, that, or maybe it was made to the aside, I'll make it now. I think that the housing mutuals are more concerned now and more understanding of the fact that any monies that would be returned will go into reserves.
Rhonda Rothman, president of Mutual 50. I don't know that this is the proper time to say this, but we are very concerned about the $5,000 transfer fee. Granted, in the total scheme of things, 311 units is very small. But when many of our small units are going for 5,000, imposing an additional 5,000 as opposed to 2,500 is a deterrent.
Okay, there being no further discussion, we have a motion on the floor. So do we have the voting screen? Okay. Commence voting.
Can you just repeat what we're voting for?
Catherine's motion, which is to reduce our reserve contribution to $16 from the proposed 19.
Because that's not what's showing up, so, okay.
From 19 to 16.
From 19 to 16. Okay, I got nothing.
You got nothing. I did not.
Well, I have a screen, but I don't have a voting screen. Because I want to vote. There we go, I got it, thank you. Oops, that wasn't how.
Lay something down here.
Here comes Granicus.
Help, Leslie. I don't know your password.
I think it's still signed in.
It says Jamie Rowe.
Okay.
No, and I don't have the sheets because Chuck takes them.
I don't know.
Because that was yesterday's United Board meeting. Okay. So are we okay with voting by hand?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to forget technology for the moment. And so all of those in favor of the motion to reduce the reserve contribution from $19 to $1,600, raise your hand.
$16.
In favor of, you're voting in favor of the reduction. All right, all those opposed? Okay, the motion fails, 9-2. Oh, we had an abstention.
Who abstained? Who abstained? There were no abstentions.
There weren't any abstentions.
No, there are no abstentions. It's just 9-2.
Okay. Okay, so now I believe we have concluded the business of the day.
You had other questions about the budget.
Okay, sorry, back to my view the speakers. So press your buttons. Judith, I think you were at the top of that list.
I just wanted to go to page 5 of the handout on the line items. Towards the bottom, missed meal penalty. What's a missed meal penalty? That's something we pay when employee misses a meal or what?
State labor law requires an employee to have a lunch or a meal period before they start their 6 hour of work. And so if the scheduling is such that that doesn't occur, then they get paid a missed meal penalty an hour. And so there are some positions like bus drivers where that's just not possible. And so they waive. There's a waiver they sign for the missed meal, and it's a penalty. And so we budget for that.
Okay.
Thank you. Betty, I'm having a really hard time understanding what uncollectible accounts are, and this is on page 3 of today's agenda, and it's item number 27. It's more than doubling.
18 of the slides. Page 18 of the slides.
Page 18 of the slides, thank you. Could you tell me what uncollectible accounts is?
Any of chargeables for GRF. So most of the chargeable services happen in the mutuals, but you do have some fines, fees, chargeable services in GRF. And one example would be premium channels. If somebody signed up for premium channels and then they stop paying their assessment, they leave the community and they don't pay, and we're not able to recover that because of a foreclosure or something, then that amount has to be written off.
I think that's, I pay monthly for my television service. So if it's uncollectible.
This would be in addition to the assessment. So an example would be premium channels if you have HBO. And
So we keep providing the
No,
service when the
no, we
people
don't.
don't pay.
No, we do not. keep
So then
providing.
I don't understand how it goes from,
It's just a charge. It's an accounting entry.
but it's double last year's. And
Right,
it's-
we've seen an
It's double the year
increase.
before.
Right,
No,
we've
it
seen-
went down. It was 16,000 in 2016, 14,000 in 2017, and now we're up to 33. And it seems we're going against common sense.
Well, it's a contingency budget. We can certainly lower that back down to
I
the
don't-
$16,000 level if you would like.
I can't say that. I just need to understand, and so we just doubled it because it's a contingency? Is that what you're saying?
This budget is submitted by those areas that see unpaid charges, and they anticipated more activity there.
Okay, and then my second question had to do with the training, et cetera. Juanita will tell me what page it's on. That's not considered compensation, that's considered a different category?
Correct.
Or it's not expenses related to compensation?
No, not safety
Okay,
training.
thank you.
Okay, Director Beckett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question about the 30-year reserve funding plan on page 10 of today's agenda. The plan shows the reserve balance climbing up to $55 million in 2047. When I compare that to last year's 30-year reserve plan, I see that in 2046, 1 year earlier, we're climbing to 27 million. So it's in, let's say 2046, it's 52 million in this year's 30-year reserve plan. In last year's reserve plan, it was 27 million. We know that that didn't come from increased revenue because it's going to be less. So evidently, it's going to come from the planned expenditures. Is that correct?
No.
Well, can you tell me explain the difference?
The facilities fee.
Yes, but
There is some change in planned expenditures in those future years, but primarily you're seeing an impact of the increased facilities fee. The revenue stream was previously projected at $2.2 million over the entire 30-year period, and now it's at $4.1 million.
well, according to my calculations, we also have reduced the assessments, the reserve assessments.
That's correct.
And according to what was in the old plan, we were actually going to be collecting more. We were going to be collecting $7.6 million between 2021 and 2046. We were going to collect $7.6 million per year. But if you look at the current budget from 2021 to 2046, we're only going to be collecting $7 million. So it's
Right, that's correct. And so if you look in those future years, like in 2038, 2036 and beyond, you do see a lower planned expenditure in that column.
I noticed that it is quite a bit of money, and I'm wondering, what is the reason for that?
I'd have to go back and look at the detail.
Catherine? Okay, Judith?
I wanted to go back to page 3 where Joanne left off and move to bring that 33,005 back down to 16, because I think this sends a really negative message that GRF is really weak on compliance and that we're expecting to have even twice as much debt as prior years. And it just looks bad that we're doing that. It also makes it look like our compliance department isn't doing their job by informing us soon enough that we have these bad debts. By the time we get to do something, it's usually too late because they let it go so long before they even brought it to our attention. So I would like to move that does go back down to 16. I think that's too much of a place betting on bad debts. It's bad to bet on a bad debt.
Joanne?
No, we need a second before we go.
I'll second.
Oh, you're making a motion to
I'll
reduce
second.
the amount?
I'll second.
I made the
Judith's.
motion.
Does that require a motion?
Well, yeah.
It's just direction from the
It's a
board.
direction.
Does it require a motion? They want to lower the.
To reduce the
debt.
33.5 for the 2018 plan of bad debts to perceive 16.
I think if the board generally wants to do that, we'll just change it.
From
Well,
33 to 16?
Yes.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, but if, I have Joanne,
I seconded it.
okay, so do you want to speak?
Well, now we have to speak to this motion.
Right.
Yes.
No, I
Diane?
want to speak about
Okay,
something
great.
else.
Diane?
So I think what's happening is that we are accruing the income, we're including it in our income, the revenue from, say, the premium channels, and then when they don't pay, we consider it a bad debt.
This line item is the way you reduce your receivables, right? So
Right.
it flows through the income statement here on this line when we make a reduction in that.
So the fact that we have more people or more of an expense for using the computer and using, like, the fact that the price of everything is going up, like HBO and Showtime and the internet, because now people are be able to do 4 or 5 different tiers, that's part of what's generating the additional amount. Right? It's where their receivable is bigger, and so, or our receivable is bigger, and when they don't pay it, is that,
There's really no way to outguess bad debt. You can look at your trends, and if you want the budget to be more in line with trends versus what people were projecting in their area of operation, we can certainly do that.
But it's not a trend. I mean, you look at the numbers and it's actually going,
That's why I said you can go back to the trend as opposed to what they projected.
okay, thank you. Then,
Okay, I have Diane's vote. Now I have Catherine.
Yeah, I speak, I'm in opposition to the motion. I mean, whenever you're setting a budget, it's not a projection that it encourages people to have bad debt. What it does is allow you to protect and make sure that you've covered yourself, because you're making a projection when you're leasing out those set-top boxes and things like this, because those are all separate issues that are billed separately. And if somebody, for whatever reason, moves out, or as she said, or the box doesn't get immediately returned. We don't necessarily have tracking that says as soon as somebody moves, that we know that the television signal is going to be changed. We don't know that. And I think that and so this is a carryover, or if somebody happens to be running in arrears on their assessment, separately, the TV people are not necessarily keeping track of that. It's a separate billing situation. So just to put an estimate in there of what, based on the people who are managing the television station foresee and perceive may be the case, and we're talking also of putting some new electronics in and things like this. What do they call? I forget what you're calling it, home something, but which in itself may increase some of the exposure to where we might have more to write off. So I object to really reducing that from what the people who are managing the operation feel is appropriate. They wouldn't have put it in there if they didn't think so.
I'm agreeing with what Catherine has said, and just thinking about, I know that with compliance, we're really focusing more on compliance, and so I would speak against this motion.
All right. Any further director comment on the motion? Speaking to the motion?
Mary Stone, 356C. I find it absolutely incredible the amount of time you're spending on pennies when a suggestion that was amounted to $3 that would really have impact was just cut short. I can't understand.
No, it was voted on, Mary.
Oh, well, I know
It
it
was
was.
not cut short, it was voted on.
I know, but there was no discussions that it really should have been discussed further. But
Well, maybe we discussed it at our last meeting.
well, but for discussing this, which is such a minor, I mean, it's pennies. You're talking about less than a quarter. It's just amazing that you don't understand that when staff put something like this in, it's not just the set top or the boxes or that sort of thing. There's also fines. There's all kinds of fees, and it includes a lot of different things.
That's right.
All right, I think we're ready to vote on this motion. And the motion is to reduce the amount of the debt, projected debt, to less than the amount that it is. So those in favor of the motion would want that reduction to happen. Those against the motion would want it to just stay the way it is. So those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand.
We can vote. It's on the screen. We have our screen now.
Okay. We's all electronic again?
Except for Beth.
Well, except
We're
for
waiting
Beth.
for her password.
We don't know her password.
Let's do it by hand.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so you know if you're voting yes, what you're voting for? Okay, those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? 9-2. The motion fails. Okay, Joanne. Okay. Do I have any directors that want to speak on anything more regarding this budget?
No.
All right, Catherine.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think I'm really pleased with where we are and overall. And I think when you take a look, when the residents take a look at where we are compared to where we were 3 or 4 years ago, because I was looking back at previous budgets, we're at our operating run rate is about $3.5 million less than it was back in 2014. So I'm just speaking to the transition that the community has gone through. We're beginning to see a lot of the benefits of all the anguish and everything else that the community experienced in that transition. And I applaud Brad and his team for being able to get control of this community. And I personally, when I walk in the morning, it's amazing to me to see all the changes and the improvements that are taking place. So I just want to thank them for all the work they've done and putting up with us directors who sometimes get a little difficult.
Director Beckett?
I don't object to this budget except for one thing, and that is that it exceeds our income. Thank you.
We're not voting on the budget today. We will vote on the budget at our regular board meeting in September. So what we're doing is giving our final direction to staff today. So that's where we're at. So we have accomplished our task today. And so now I will ask for director comments, if there are any. Joan?
I very much agree with what Catherine said. Congratulations, staff, and Brad especially. You guys have done a terrific job with the amount of money you've had, and you spent it wisely, and we're looking forward to another terrific year.
Thank you.
Any other director want to speak before I adjourn the meeting? Okay, adjourned.
My big concern, like I said, it's been more than just that one channel. I've seen it on probably 4 or 5 channels where the sound goes almost completely.
When we insert the ads, you can't hear them.